Welcome to the School of Moxie podcast. I'm your host, Mary Williams. This season, we're talking about one thing. My business pays for my life. We're not talking about side hustles or someday dreams. We're talking about businesses that actually pay for your life. So your rent and your mortgage, your health insurance premium, the whole kit and caboodle. The thing you are not going to get today in this episode, you are not going to hear my guest read their resume at you for 15 minutes. We're skipping the highlight reel and going straight to the good stuff. We're talking about timelines and trade-offs and the money conversations that not enough people are talking about out loud, but we're about to do it here on this show. If you want to know all the details about who this person is and what they do, that's what the show notes are for. Go check them out. Follow their links. Please support their work because you don't really get to know somebody from just one episode. You get to know them by showing up for their work day after day. That's what they've done for their own communities, and it's what I'm asking you to do for them. All right, let's get into it. Rebecca, I am so excited that you are on this season of my podcast because you and I are relatively new friends in business, thanks to our dear friend Veronica Jans. But you are a product-based business. You are my only product-based business owner this season, by the way. And you also own a brick and mortar, which has been very important for me, having keys to a brick and mortar now. So I feel like I can commiserate with you on not too many an occasion, but sometimes. So welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
You are an incredible ceramicist potter. What do you prefer to be called?
I call myself a potter because most of what I do is functional, and I don't really delve into the fine art side of things.
Oh, that's where ceramics comes into play, huh?
Yeah. Some potters prefer to be called ceramics, though. It's a touchy subject.
Okay. All right. Well, I will call you by, it's like, oh my God, it's like pronouns for potters.
It is. It is. It is. Some people are deeply offended by being called a potter.
Well, I am going to encourage everybody to go check you out in the show notes. I will remind everybody before we're done with the episode today, but you have an incredible online store and you had some really amazing mugs that I guess kind of sort of went viral this year. You have one that's amazing. It says "Not Today, Fascist," and there's a very well-known political influencer who was holding your mug and people went and bought it, as they should.
Yeah. I woke up to discover I had been tagged multiple times by my followers. Rebecca, is this your mug? And it was Chris and Dave had posted with it on Instagram, and it took off. And then somebody in the comments said, I wish there was a fuck the patriarchy mug. And I'm like, tomorrow we'll have it.
It's amazing. Your mugs bring me so much joy. I've bought them for my sister and they spread protest joy throughout the land.
Good. That's what they should do.
And when we're recording this, Halloween season is coming up and you've got the coolest stuff going on in your store. So I'm just going to encourage everybody that because I have so many woo-woo people in my audience from all the years past. So just go on in there and just go have fun. There's literally witchy stuff in your store. Yes. I'm just going to drop that and then we're going to move in.
Halloween this year is called The Slow Dark, and I am embracing all things witchy. Someone at one of the events that I did this year said that a candle I had poured smelled like graveyard fog in Salem, and I'm like, that's my entire personality the rest of the year.
Yes. Oh, that's good. I still say people don't realize how much they channel for each other. Well, let's get into your comfort show or your comfort movie, because I find that when the going gets tough, we tend to go back to the things that are comforting and familiar, and shows and movies is one of those things. So you've got a really good show that you love to watch. Do you want to tell us?
It's Peaky Blinders. I love everything about it. And it started with the aesthetic for me because it's that dark, gritty, textured, but then there's like these fine fabrics and these just like really beautiful things hidden in the darkness that completely fascinate me. But then the music, by the end of the first episode, I'm like, how do I get the soundtrack? And that's what I listen to, a quarter of the time that I'm throwing. So there was all of that, but oh my God, I absolutely love how they're just like, well, that's not working. We're going to go off this way and do this thing and pivot to this thing and get creative and do something with this. And here's this huge, you know, roadblock. How are we going to be creative and get around it? And that jazzes me up.
That is so you and your business, though. Like,
yes,
in all of our discussions that we have offline, you're like, well, this thing seems to be flowing better. I think I'm going to pivot. I think I'm going to do it. Or like you listen to your intuition, but also like you really listen to the market, and they basically do that. That's like all of Peaky Blinders.
And until I saw the question on here before the podcast, I hadn't actually like put words to what I loved about the business side of it. Yeah. It's just so damn gritty and down to earth.
Well, that would be your branding. I mean, literally gritty and down to earth. It's clay. I think my favorite thing, though, is, and I told you this before we started hitting record, I love Cillian Murphy, his face. Mm-hmm. His face is great anywhere because he's just like, I can't with this bullshit anymore. And I'm like, yeah, yes. I feel that deeply into my soul. I think it's the only reason I ever watched the show was just to watch him look at everyone like, you got to be fucking kidding me right now.
Yes, but I also absolutely love that the women are completely unhinged.
This is me with my old like sewing background, cosplay background coming into play, but I love, speaking of textures, mm-hmm. I love the costumes so much. The tailoring in that wardrobe is insanely incredible.
It's like I can feel it while I'm watching. I'm always doing this while I'm watching.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, craftsmanship is such a huge part of what makes your business your business. You don't know her yet, but she's on this season of the podcast as well, Rachel Allen. She's a copywriter and a brand strategist. And 3 years ago, she gave me words that I hadn't even thought about. And she was like, oh, wow, Mary, she's like, what you are talking about is craftsmanship and like not just making content for content's sake, but doing it well. And I see that in what you do with your product. And so it kind of makes sense that you would pick a show that has craftsmanship just kind of oozing out of the frame and like every frame.
Yeah, every little corner of it.
That show is a labor of love for the people who worked on it, but so are our businesses. And this season, everyone who's on can legitimately say my business pays for my life, which most definitely includes you. Holy crap.
Yeah.
You do amazing business. You've been doing it a long time. So you've got the stripes like the rest of us do. At what point did you realize that your business really was paying for your life, though?
It's been a long time. When I left the corporate world, I floundered for a couple of years because I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I had tried so many things I didn't know what artist meant. But I think it finally felt like it was starting to pay for my life about 15 years ago. And it wasn't all just pottery. It was pottery and then a few things from my past that I would still freelance for. I was self-employed and sustaining myself at that point. And then when we moved to Indianapolis about 9 years ago, it didn't just pay for my life. It also started paying for employees and for eventually my husband's life as well.
What changed about you when your business really did become responsible for supporting your life? Like, do you see it as two separate, like sort of milestone events, like first you and then you and your husband, or do you just sort of see it as like one long continuous arc?
It's one long continuous arc, because he was an architectural engineer, so he was making a decent living, but it wasn't like he was making a living that supported us if I didn't make money. Yeah, I have always had to make money. So yeah, I think it's been a continuous arc. Like it would get to a point that it's like, woohoo, I'm making as much as I want to make. Oh, I need a new employee. So then I'm like kind of scaling my income back to bring somebody else back on. So it's kind of been an ebb and a flow for the last 10 years.
Do you feel like anything changed about you, though, when your business became responsible?
No, I don't think so. But my background was in corporate retail as a regional director. So the idea of having employees and being responsible for those people's salaries and well-being and all that was kind of ingrained in me from a very young age.
I love this because you just dropped like a seriously important nugget. Like you had this corporate background. I think when people see somebody else where they're at, like where you're at today, because you've got like industry fans of you and your business with your pottery company. And they're like, holy shit, how is she doing it? You teach workshops on this all the time to them. You teach them how to do business. But you also came to the table with a retail background. You knew things that you kind of need to know if you're going to sell products. Like, I'm just wondering, like, how often do other people recognize that without having to be explicitly be told?
There's a lot of times I'll get, oh, that's why, once they find out that I have the background in the corporate
Yeah.
world. And talking to like owners of some of my suppliers, they'll be like, how did you grow this? How did you know to do this? Because if you went to art school, you wouldn't have the business side of the background that I have. So it's not a surprise when people find out that that's what my background is. But there are a lot of them that just assume that my husband is making money and I'm not, or they assume that like I know people that I don't know. I don't know who those people are, but if they want to know me so that we can make more money, would be all in for that. It's been really interesting just getting people's impressions of like how I got to where I am,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's absolutely no way I would have made it here without my background in corporate retail, because there's so much of what I do that's just the water I swam in for 20 years when I was in corporate retail, that I don't even have to think about it.
You know things.
I do.
You
I
just know
things.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The next question in our discussion guide, everybody's getting more or less the same set of questions, was, do you feel like you work more than some of your peers? And it's really making me think about this notion of people just sort of assuming that something's been handed to you in some way. And and for some people, yes, their spouse is really like subsidizing what they're doing. Their spouse, husband, wife, whoever is absolutely the number one investor in that company or business. And sometimes people just assume that you must just know some like special magical god in the sky. But I really think that comes down to like how much work you do. Like, do you feel like you work more than some of your peers?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There are some of my peers who work as much as I do, but for the most part, I am working and focusing this year, finally, on gaining some work-life balance. And
Yeah.
it's still a struggle because it's always in my brain. It's hard to turn it off, even when I'm doing something else. But because I came from that corporate career where you don't have a choice, you're thinking about your job all the time. There's no, if you have work-life balance, clearly you're failing. I did have a safety net in the sense of I had a mentor when I was first starting in ceramics. I had left my first husband and he let me live in his house and use his studio that was up for sale after he had moved out. Because he retired, he moved to his lake house. His house was up for sale and the housing market had just crashed. And he's like,
Yeah.
you can live here for the cost of utilities, your internet, whatever you need. Use my studio and keep it ready to sell so the house isn't sitting empty. And I think that was a huge help for me for the year that I lived there, because I had access to all the tools, materials, firing, all that
Yeah.
stuff to just
Yeah.
experiment and fail. And my cost of living was very, very low. And I was doing, like, I was a church secretary for a summer to pay my bills, which was really bizarro. I did some graphic design stuff, some freelance store design stuff, just like little jobs to pay the way until I started doing art fairs. But really, I think that people don't look deep enough to see where I was before I was a potter. Like, I was just born one day as a potter, and I think sometimes there's conversation that I've caught wind of that I'm a sellout because I make functional pottery and I don't do fine artwork, and that's fine, whatever. Like, I'm making a living, I don't care. If you think I'm a sellout, that's fine.
Yeah. Haters gonna hate, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm fascinated by your world because I've always been service based. And so I know what it's like to like type away and do all the things in the digital space. And I know what it's like to produce media and material and like be editing and stuff. But you have to sit down at a potter's wheel. You have to throw clay. You got to cure clay. You've got to put it in the kiln. You got to glaze stuff. Your output just seems like really insanely incredible. Like
Yeah.
how many hours a day do you actually make stuff? And then where does all of the rest of the business part go? Because you're also amazing at marketing. You've got a great fan base. Like, where does all that fit in?
Thanks. Yay for ADHD. So, because I can task switch pretty easily. I usually spend about 15 hours a week at the wheel. On a heavy week, maybe 20, 22 hours. And then the rest of my time is spent on the other parts of the business. Because on top of the making, like I do have Mackenzie, she's been with me since I've been in Indianapolis, who does the majority of my glazing and kiln loading. She does some of my trimming after the pots are thrown, and I have an apprentice who helps with some of that as well. My output would not be nearly what it is without them. They're wonderful. And then Chris, my husband, does all of our packing and shipping. But when I'm not at the wheel, I'm working on the website. I'm doing all of our product photography, writing our product descriptions, doing the social media, all of that stuff. And at times it's overwhelming. And that's why, like, I just got my first welcome flow because it was hard and I couldn't figure out exactly what it needed to be. So I'm like, that'll happen another day.
Yeah.
And I'm finally getting around to it. But I think one of the biggest struggles that I've had, especially with marketing, is working with anyone who's traditionally worked in marketing. They're expecting me to be ordering product. So 100% of my time is non-product.
Right.
I'm spending 50% of my time making. And then when I'm not making, I'm doing production schedules and making sure that we have materials and all of that operations side of it as well. 60 to 70 hour weeks are normal, but a good chunk of that is in my pajamas on the sofa with the kitties.
As it should be. Totally relate.
Yeah.
We have cats on either side here while I'm recording, as you know.
Nice. Mine
just, like,
is
chilled out.
mine's right over there in his chair with his little wool blankie.
I think it's one of the best parts. You're like, yes, I will work 60, 70 hours a week because I have my cat next to me. It's all fine. It's all fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like somebody who wants to kind of figure out how to crack the code on really like incredible output, because you do have a really incredible output, is to just follow you in all the places and spaces. It's one of my favorite little media tricks and tools for marketing, is to just like watch what someone does and like really pay attention. Don't just consume the content like, oh, what a pretty video, but like really go and look at what is happening in that video.
Right.
And how many were published this week. And you definitely tell stories through your content. Like you take B-roll. I mean, sometimes you'll throw things out to Veronica and me in the group chat and you'll be like, what do you think about this? And we'll tell you. My favorite one recently was when you were like, is this boring? And I responded to you and I was like, what is boring? And you were like,
cut out the boring parts?
I was like, there are no boring parts. What are you talking about, lady? I laughed so hard. And then you were like, oh, where I like re-wet my sponge. And I'm like, it's all fascinating. Why are you cutting it out? And then you made like 3 different versions and you did it really fast. But a lot of that too is like, you've done enough reps. Like this isn't the first time that you trimmed a video or whatever. And I think like sometimes people forget, like just like throwing clay on your wheel and making a mug.
Yep.
Like the first time you made the mug, it takes you way longer than it takes you now to do it. And the same thing is true. And we're trying to balance like the doing of the products that we make, whether it's physical like yours or it's a digital product. You still have like your ops and your marketing and all the stuff that makes the business run. You've got to have time to do that. And it does get better the more you do it.
It does. And I am a strong believer in systems. So I don't need to reinvent the thing every single time I'm doing it. There are a lot of people that I follow in the pottery sphere who invent something fresh every time they do a video. No, like one of the great things about being consistent is being consistent. I don't have to invent every time.
Also, I have to say that like you're one of my final interviews that I'm doing for this season. And because, before we met, I was coaching people in business systems. And, I'm a librarian. And I think almost every one of you this season has called out like systems. I feel so fucking
Mhm.
vindicated. I'm
Good.
like, to all the people in COVID who were like, I don't think I have time. I'm just going to point to like all of your episodes and be like, go watch, go listen.
Yes. Yes. Like just sitting down the other night and doing those videos, I got a new camera, so I'm recording two views
Yeah.
at once now, which is
Yeah.
huge. It saves me so much time while I'm throwing. But like I've got just a little rhythm that I go through to get the first one cut and then go through and cut out the boring parts. And then I go and cut out just the highlight part. And now I've got three videos out of each one.
Yeah.
And like, discovering that was really, really helpful because now I sat down and I made 21 reels off of one day of throwing. And it took me an hour while I was snuggled with the kitties.
I fucking love that you just described that. There's no more excuses for people,
No,
myself included. There's no more excuses. None.
no. Now,
You are.
sometimes, like this week, I'm in hibernation mode and I'm just like, I don't want to social. And I have
Yeah.
learned to give myself grace for that for 7 days, but no longer.
I'm asking everybody this question because, as you know, I'm trying to feel better about my health insurance premium. What do you currently pay for health insurance each month? And do you feel like it influences any of your business decisions?
1,200 a month for my husband and I. Yeah, it influences business decisions because if I didn't have to pay that 1,200 a month, I would be investing that in advertising.
Oh, us and our privatized
Hmm.
healthcare system. Gotta love it.
Yep,
Yay,
and we're actually
America.
using it right now, which means it's going to go up.
Yeah, yeah. As you age, you kind of like need healthcare. It's
Hmm.
funny how that works.
Some bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Hashtag America. Thank you for sharing your numbers with me. What have you given up in order to build a business that fully supports your life? Or do you feel like you've given anything up? Because there's been a couple people who are like, I don't know that I gave anything up.
Yeah, I don't know that I gave anything up because I need to make things. I need to be doing things. I do not sit still well at all. I will get angsty and cranky. So I would be doing something with
Yeah.
the time. So having it focused has been really nice because in the past it would have been like pick any one of 120 different crafts at any given time. That's what I would be doing with my time. So
Yeah.
now I'm only doing like 8.
You're getting paid for a lot of it. So, it's
Yes.
so good, right? When was the last time you felt when was the last time you genuinely felt the weight of knowing that it was all on you?
Oh, last year, first and second quarter, it was rough. That was really, really rough because when the new regime took over at the end of January, all of our wholesale accounts just kind of put buying on pause because they
Yeah.
didn't know what to expect. Our retail customers put buying on pause because they didn't know what to expect. And then the tariffs hit, so our expenses went up. So I couldn't like backload stock during that slow time because we didn't have the revenue for it. And we lost one of our lenders for a business line of credit
Yeah.
because we didn't have enough volume for them to feel safe leaving our line of credit open. So
Are
when
you
you
fucking
need the
kidding me?
line of credit, you can't have
Yeah.
it. And that was the second time that happened to me because it happened the week of the shutdown, the COVID shutdown. I lost my
Hmm.
line of credit. And then it took a while to get another one because I had lost my line of credit. So it looked
Yes.
on my paperwork like I lost a line
Hmm.
of credit, but I didn't. They just
Hmm.
quit lending to everybody. So that was really tough because I had a small team at the time and I wasn't sure where money was coming from, but also it wasn't looking good for like Chris and I had talked about maybe you go back into engineering.
Right.
And he's like, where? All the architects are laying off because business supplies or building supplies just went up so much. So we figured it out. We pivoted and we couldn't make pots. So we worked really hard on SEO on the website and Google local business and our wholesale back end and just reaching out to customers and trying to figure out what they want and what we could do to make it work. And we ended up kind of bouncing back when we did a a special event where I made 100 mugs for $25 a piece. I'm like, we just need a little boost here. We just need like get things moving again. And I had a bunch of random clay in the studio, so I'm like, I don't know what clay your mug's going to be made out of. You can pick the color of glaze.
Yeah.
That's all you get. I'm just going to play. And that was good.
Oh, that's super. That's so creative. That's super cool. I love that you brought up the point about lines of credit and lending. It is something that's come up maybe in like half the episodes that we've had this season. I am such a big proponent of changing the dialogue with women who are in my business space, because I have never once heard a dude in business go like, oh, I don't think I will take out that loan to expand things. I need to operate debt free. And I feel like there is like this cultural thing in women in business about operating debt free. Sometimes you can do it, and that is amazing if you can, that you've been like cash supportive. But I have never known anyone in business, founders in the startup space anywhere, who did not use an investor or a line of credit to some degree in order to expand. Like at some point you need additional cash flow in order to do that. And I love that you're modeling that and the realities of it as well, which is like sometimes those lenders, they just like crap out. Or sometimes the banks fail. I mean, in Trump's glorious economy, that is sarcastic, by the way, we have this problem with instability in the financial sphere. And it's really like an anchor point for small businesses.
It is. It is. And looking for a line of credit with banks a few years ago, when like we had kind of bounced back from COVID and I went back out looking for a fresh line of credit, it was wild to me. 3 of the banks that I applied to asked me for my husband's job and income information. I'm like, bitch, he works for me.
What? No.
Yeah. And I didn't get approved at any of them because there wasn't a sustainable, stable income in our household. I'm like, I'm the one that has been providing for us sustainably. Well, he got laid off during COVID and then was let go after COVID when everybody came back. He was back for a month and they let him go. And I have to have somebody else.
That is wild to me.
It was wild.
There's a really big part of me that wonders if you were a dude, would they have asked you for that too?
Right.
Like I understand with businesses, they tend to like scrutinize a little more because they're like, where's it all coming from? Because somehow that is not as legitimate as being employed by another business, which also still has the same parameters, but like, you know,
right.
But the paperwork looks different because you've got a W-2 form behind it. And
right.
Yeah, wow, that blows my mind.
It did mine too. And with the third one, I was working with a banker, personal banker, and she was like, I'm so sorry to tell you that your loan was denied because there's not a stable, what they consider a stable income in the household. I'm like, this is an LLC. What are you even talking about? I don't need a guarantor. This is not 1970.
No. Although you would think we're sometimes operating like that again. But that is for another podcast that we will do together on a later day.
Fantastic.
So despite all of these like fucked up issues, okay, I'll get over it. I'll get over it. What's easier now that your business does pay for your life?
I don't have to worry about where money is coming from anymore. Like which of the many irons I have in the fire, it's all coming from my business. So I just need to figure out what I need to do in my business. And that's been a big relief because I've done so many different things to get to this point.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to know that I can always come up with something. Like worst case scenario, I can make 100 mugs for $25.
Right.
If we really need it and nothing else is going on.
I just have to tell you, like, as you're talking about all these things, all I can think is like, it makes total sense why Peaky Blinders is your show, because I feel like this is the mindset that they go through every like plot arc and like everything in the course of all of those seasons is like, what are we doing next? How do we solve it?
Right.
And like, how do we focus? You know?
And what bastard in the system is stopping us from doing it? Except I'm not out there breaking kneecaps. No,
thank goodness we're not doing that. But you know, motherfuckers. I can't believe that they didn't give that to him. I'm not over it, Rebecca. I'm not over it. What is a business expense that nobody warned you about?
Like, I was pretty well versed on business expenses before going into this.
I love this answer, by the way.
Yeah.
I love that
I
you're
don't think
answering this.
I don't think there was anything that surprised me. I think the only thing that has kind of surprised me over the years is the amount of money I have to spend because of shit people do outside of my business. Like the electric company putting the wrong size something or other in
Yes.
the substation and it fried all
Yes.
the electronics in my kiln. Things like that.
Yeah. That was like, you held my hand through my most wonderful fire marshal who took issue with my hedge wall in the
Yeah.
set in my studio. That took a whole month of back and forth conversation before they were finally like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm like, the
Yeah.
amount of billable time that has gone into solving this stupid
Yes.
thing. Like, oh God, so mad about it. I'm not over that either. I'm not over a lot
No.
of things.
It's going to take a while on that one.
I think I need to start a show that's called I'm Not Over It. We've been talking about economics and, the economy is in a crunchy time. You have definitely felt it. I think everybody has felt it since Trump got elected.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, you can't ignore the fact that there has been insane inflation and a lot of changes in timing and purchasing behaviors and all those things. So for some people, this is a reality. But if your business suddenly lost 50% of its revenue tomorrow, what would you do first?
There are a lot of expenses that I'm locked into that I can't do anything about. And unfortunately, the one I'm not locked into is my team. And it might be that someone on my team is looking for a different job. And it may be Chris, like at that point, because while he is absolutely indispensable in the business, he's also higher on the pay scale. I would say that's probably the key. I would probably have to raise prices so that I have a little bit more profit margin in there. As far as reducing expenses with the studio, I've already cut those down as far as I can with, the lease that I have. Getting out of a lease is not cheaper than staying in a lease.
No, especially not a business lease. Oh my goodness.
Nope.
People who have never seen business lease paperwork have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's intense.
I mean, you also deal with, because you're product based, you deal with shipping expenses. Like you have no control over those fees. And they're talking about raising them again because of fuel prices.
Yes. And every time we order cardboard, our boxes, it goes up 5 to 10%.
What?
Yeah. Every time we order them, they're more expensive.
Yeah. Like for the end consumer, I think when people are looking at like, why is this artisanal piece of functional pottery, why does it cost what it costs? It's like there is so much infrastructure behind that. And when you look at some, not so great retailer out there that makes things, cheaply shipped from China or, made with, God forbid, child labor hands somewhere in the world, but it does happen. And you go to your discount bargain basement store to go get some stuff, like there is a cost to those things. And it might not be from your wallet, but it could be in just like trends in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to the 50% question. Last year, first quarter, we dropped 47%.
Holy shit.
So we did do that.
Yeah.
We already did that. I didn't have the apprentice on hand at the time, and Mackenzie, who works with me, cut her hours and picked up extra hours as a nanny. And we just quit buying supplies until we absolutely had to.
Oh my goodness. But you're already like way up on this year. It's so exciting. I love that I have this little window into the back room of your business because I just find your business so fascinating. Because it's so different from what I do,
Yes. You're welcome to look in my back end anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah, we have picked up what we lost last year and we're a little bit ahead.
That is incredible. I mean, I do think that there are some indicators that people are starting to realize like, okay, the shit show isn't going to end super soon. I have to keep moving and doing, and like the world just doesn't pause. We saw people do this during COVID too, where they just kind of like froze. There's sort of like a freeze response. And this time the freeze response was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I think people were a little exhausted from the previous freeze response and they weren't really recovered from it.
Yeah.
So I love hearing that your business is, picking up and doing cool things. What do you think many entrepreneurs misunderstand about becoming fully self-supporting through their business?
How long do we have?
You have as long as you want. As long as you want. For you, you could talk for days. I don't care.
Oh, wow. I think so many of them misunderstand that they are not their customer. And I think that's the biggest wall I am up against when working with other entrepreneurs, whether they reach out to me because they need to figure out how to pivot or things aren't going as perfectly as the Pinterest ideal when they quit their job and decided to do this full time. Realizing they're not their own customer is huge. Having like this, I don't understand where it's from, but having this altruistic idea that they want to offer a handmade product with their blood, sweat, and tears and the amount of time that they lose from their life outside their business, but they insist on pricing their goods to be accessible to people who wouldn't normally be able to afford it. And I'm like, I understand that that's a noble pursuit. However, unless you have a trust fund, that makes no sense because then you're putting yourself in a position where you can't continue to offer it long term.
Yeah.
I think those are the two biggest misunderstandings. Once we get past that, I think a lot of it is that the original idea, daydream, mood board of what the business isn't always where it ends up because our customers don't always want our vision of it. So we can either double down on our vision, but if you do that, you have to let your freak flag fly
Yeah.
so that you can bring in the others.
Yeah.
Or you have to go with where your customers are that have found you and cater to them. And I used to do that, and now I'm far more interested in letting my freak flag fly.
I was just thinking, like, yeah, it's almost like one of two identities is either full on freak flag. You definitely do that. Or it's full on like surfing, like responding to the market and everything. I feel like I do that. I came into, getting keys to my studio a year ago and I was like, I'm going to offer things like this. And I had plenty of market data to base that off of and existing experience in business to base that off of. And then, the world never gives you exactly what it is. It is not the Pinterest board. And then now a year later, I'm like, I really thought that I was going to be recording people by the hour. And I'm like, nope, I do believe I am managing talent and building a network. Like it is a complete shift in business model. But yeah, I love watching you fly your freak flag because it gives me encouragement to fly mine a little higher, a little louder.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. I mean, that was how I started out my business, and then shit got serious. I had to make a living.
Yeah.
And I played it safe for a while, and I hated what I was doing.
I keep thinking too, like from what you said, that it's not the Pinterest board that you thought it would be. I wonder how many people, because before your business pays for your life, it really isn't, and it's scary. Maybe you have some subsidy, you've got dual income in the household, and it's kind of floating you, and like lucky you, honestly. Right. And if you do, it's like, how do you get into the mindset? I don't know, maybe you do or don't have advice for this, but how do you get into the mindset of like where you're at now, which is I'm going to let my freak flag fully fly. And I'm going to like build in this vein instead of working my way to getting my freak flag to fly. It's like, nope, I'm just flying it. Like,
yeah.
How does somebody do that?
I just did it. I'm not real good on easing into things. I don't do the volume fade.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm doing this now.
I mean, you do have mugs that are like, be a menace today. Like,
yes. Yeah. I mean, when I originally started making pots, I was 100% letting my freak flag fly. Because I was going through a divorce and I was carving profanity on pots, and I was like one of the first people to carve fuck on a mug and sell it in like a
Yeah.
general art fair. And it was, oh my goodness, how could you possibly do that? Pearl clutching. And now like everybody going through a
Yeah.
grad program in ceramics has something with fuck on it. It's kind of boring now. But when I quit doing a bunch of the private label work that I was doing and I really wanted to focus on Gravesco, it's like that I need to be at the center of my brand and I need to be completely myself or I'm not going to love doing this.
That is such a good thing. I just like intuitively, whenever I record these things, I just get this intuitive feeling of like people listening to certain sound bites. And there's somebody listening who needs to hit rewind, that little 30-second rewind thing, and they need to listen to that again. Because I feel like it's the difference between staying in this sort of like golden handcuffs, golden coffin situation and like
Mhm.
really doing the darn thing. I mean, maybe you want to stay in sort of just more of a hobby mode, and there is no shame in being a hobby
Yep.
business, but like but you can't be a hobby business and then go play in the big league spaces and expect to have same outcomes or have people talk about workload and you're like, oh, quel dommage, I don't want to do that, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, you got to know you got to know who you are, where you're at in that moment, and like, am I sitting in the right seat in the right time in the right place?
Yes.
And if you want a seat at that big girl table, like there are certain realities that do have to be faced.
Yeah. And I think for me, one of the realities I had to face was acknowledging the things I didn't want to do. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff I'm really good at that I really
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I monetized them and I went, I hate this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing this again. We're getting out
Yeah.
of this when this contract is over. And I feel like this is maybe the first time in my business this year that I've cut back on products that I'm making because I'm just not interested in making them.
Yeah.
And some of them because the numbers don't support it, and some of them because I'm over it. I'm moving on,
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
over it. But when I did that this year and I decided to just like throw in the towel on traditional marketing and even trying to understand it because it just does not compute to me,
Mm-hmm.
and go off on my
Mm-hmm.
own rogue tangent, it was really helpful for me to be able to just write down who am I and what do I stand for and what am I willing to tolerate and what am I not willing to accept and where to give myself some grace in this process because with not just having a service but having a product that I physically make with my very own hands, I have to be really careful about where I'm spending my time. And I have to
Yeah.
be really good about communicating what I want my customers to do with the things I make.
Oh, that's such good advice. Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of growing into your mission and your vision and your values, you know me, I'm all about busting codependency patterns. So I got a doozy question for you.
Okay.
What are business programs, coaches, and communities not talking about enough that keeps people stuck in dependency patterns? Because I feel like this is what stops you from your business paying for your life.
I think, oh God, I've done so many programs. I just recently did one that I quit on day 3, because it was just so wildly frustrating. I think what they're not talking about enough is that we don't all fit into a very specific box, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people out there teaching marketing, teaching systems, that it's not, let's figure out how this works for you. It's, you need to do it my way or you're going to fail. And that's been really frustrating for me, especially as a pattern seer, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I can already see sitting here 6 months, 8 months, a year down the
Mm-hmm.
road, and I can tell you that this is not going to work based on my past experience. And it's not because I'm being defensive or
Yeah.
protective of my intellectual ideas. I see the pattern. I see where this is going. I see how this is not sustainable. And I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing too much formula following and not seeking individual success. As much as I love Pinterest, going on Pinterest to look for things that are like yours so that you could copy them is a death knell. And I see people in our space saying, go on Pinterest and get ideas. I go on Pinterest to see what's there so I don't do that because I know there's other stuff that's a niche. I see people talking about social media in really specific formulas, and it's like, but is that what your audience wants? Is that how your audience is going to connect? So I think that individuality is distinctly missing.
I love that you said that. Oh, thank you for saying it. Yeah, I completely agree. I had a hell of a time selling systems coaching. I mean, I had plenty of clients, and the ones who were clients then are still clients now, and even in the pivot. And it's because I was like, you can't just follow someone's formula. And I was like, I will lead you through sort of like step by step so you don't drive yourself crazy trying to do everything at once kind of like format. But you have to do your own inventory. You have to figure out your own picture. You've got to make workflows and SOPs or whatever. You've got to do that in a way that is unique to you. Is the other person who's selling you her multi-million-dollar formula, well, guess what? She built it 10 years ago. She built it on an unfair advantage you don't have. She had access to organic reach and a list that you don't have. Like, it's never going to be the same. So there's just certain things you just can't copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, there's a weird amount of shame in the teaching space that, well, yeah, you failed because you didn't do my way. And that's really frustrating to see. I think there's also a big failure in people not knowing what they want, and coaches and workshop leaders insisting on unlimited growth.
Yes.
The amount of times that I have had to say, but I don't want to make $10 million a year and run my business from the beach. That would drive me bonkers. That sounds miserable. My goal is not that. My goal is to have a nice, comfortable living and pay my people really well and give back to my community and work in my business because it's what I love doing.
But you know your values and you know what has value to you. You know what enough is.
Yes.
And like, yes, that number is going to change and evolve because inflation goes up. And so like the enoughness number is going to change a little bit because what you used to live on 10 years ago, you don't live on today, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Sure.
I hear that criticism coming at the conversation and I'm like, just, yes, we understand that.
Yeah.
But you are very clear on what you want. I don't know that everybody's always that clear.
No. And for me, part of it took, originally I was like, I want enough to be really happy. I'd love to have $1 million years. I can do that in the studio by myself with an assistant. And with Chris shipping. That's totally doable, and we're on our way to that. I thought at one point, because of my health, that I wanted to have people doing my job for me so that if I got sick, the business wouldn't stop. And then I had a team of 14 people, and I never got to make pots, and I never got to do anything I loved. And I was just managing. I recreated my corporate job in a new form. And that was when I really realized unlimited growth isn't the thing for me. Maybe someday, I'll find somebody to help me make some more of my work. Yeah. But for right now, I would rather continue to pivot and shift what I'm doing to keep that growth going.
Oh, that's such a good answer, Rebecca. Thank you for going all the way there with me.
You're welcome.
Do you have a bill that you're weirdly proud to pay?
My health insurance. Because we've had a couple of years that we didn't have it. So
yeah, that's a very similar answer to mine too. It's funny. It's like when you don't have something and you know you need to pay for it, when you can, you're like, I'm so glad I get to pay that. Even though like, I hate the fact I have to pay this bill, but like, I'm so proud that I can do it.
Yes. My first year doing full-time fine art fairs, I was like in the 10 by 10 tent out on the street, schlepping my wares. Like midsummer, I had made enough money that I could go to Costco and get the big package of toilet paper. Not like the 6 rolls, like the ones that I could barely fit in the car. I was riding high.
I got to tell you, I love my Costco toilet paper. I really do. And it's just me and 2 cats at home. I buy it once a year and I'm like,
Yep.
yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Don't have to worry about that now. I'm rich.
No. Toilet paper made you feel rich. We're finishing every episode this season with a little Mad Libs game. I'm going to have you help me fill in the blank on this sentence.
Okay.
The sentence is, my business pays for my life. And that means fill in the blank.
Oh, that means I get to wake up every morning and go do the thing that I love the most. And then I get to go to bed every night thinking about how I get to do it again tomorrow.
Oh, that's so cozy.
Yeah.
That's
Most
so
of the time, that's a
cozy.
blessing.
Sometimes you're like, okay, we can stop ruminating. Man, you have so much wisdom in you. I'm so glad that you're in this season of the podcast. I cannot wait for people, especially for my audience who don't know you, to know you. And I hope they go click your link in the show notes and go shopping because your site is so incredible. And the Halloween stuff is up right now when this podcast first airs. Later over time, it might not be Halloween, but you always do things in seasons, and you've got the coolest witchy stuff. And there's some year-round witchy things. I will say that there is year-round witchy things for all of my witchy woo-woo people who are, have been with me a long time from all the tarot reading. They can go nerd out on that any time of the year. And, it's Christmas, it's witchy time. It's New Year's, it's witchy time. It's Valentine's Day, it's witchy time. Thank you so much for being my business friend and my friend and showing up and, sharing your wisdom. I really appreciate you for that.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the School of Moxie podcast. This season was produced and edited by me, Mary Williams, through Sensible Woo and now Sasquatch Media Grounds out of Vancouver, Washington. If you're a business owner and you want help building your own media engine, maybe it's your podcast, your YouTube channel, your content, the whole visibility machine, come and subscribe to my emails at sensiblewoo.com/subscribe. I'll show you how it's done and I'll hook you up with the good stuff. See you on the inside.